Going to US for higher education is a dream for many, especially those who are looking at education abroad. The advantage that US offers is something that everyone is aware of. No wonder, therefore, US is seen as one of the most preferred countries for higher education. The process of getting an admission is a long one. It is a process that requires a lot of work. May that be in shortlisting the colleges, building the profile through the SOPs, and getting the support in form of LORs. But finally, everything boils down to one event: getting the visa. During the spring of 2022, it was a big challenge because quite a few students, including those who did get admission from top colleges in the US, they were not able to go in and join simply because the visa dates were not available. COVID has put pressure across various sectors. And in spite of the fact that the COVID incidences, and thankfully at that, has come down, the fact remains that efficiency is still not 100%. Some time back, a notice was made available by the US Embassy saying that their operational efficiency has still not come back to 100% of the pre-COVID time. There's a lot of confusion, therefore, as to will the challenge of getting a visa slot continue for the fall of 22 as well. Today, we are in a better position because there has been further information that has been passed on by the US Embassy. They have made a promise that they shall be opening quite a few slots so that students who are aspiring to go abroad for the fall of 22 will not be at a disadvantage. However, there has also been a change, and you as a person aspiring to apply for the visa should be aware of it. Yes, a promise has been made that the slots would be opened, and the reality is that slots are being opened. But getting a slot is not very easy. However, timely, if you were to start looking for it, you will be good enough in a position to get yourself a slot. But this year, because of the second important notice talked about, this becomes a little more risky. Traditionally, what would happen is that if you go for a visa and the visa is rejected, you could fix another date after 24 hours of your rejection. However, what has happened is the embassy has now said that we would like to give opportunities to more students, and in that process, students whose visas have been rejected are going to be at a disadvantage. When you start filling in the visa form, you will notice the fact that there's a question that is being asked. The question is, have you been rejected a US visa in the last 24 months? And if you do mention yes, and yes, you cannot lie, then you will notice the fact that the dates that are being given to you are not current. In fact, in one student's case, the dates that were offered were not of 2022, not of 2023, but of 2024. However, the latest notification now says that in case your visas are being rejected or you have had a case of visa rejection in the last 24 months, then we will be, and when I say we, I'm talking about the US Embassy, allowing you to apply for fall 22 again, but only during a window, and the window commences from 15th August 2022 till the 1st September of 2022. What is the impact of it? The first and the foremost impact, of course, is you need to see to it that your visa is not rejected. If that requires you to prepare well, do so, because the cost of visa rejection is extremely heavy. Second, if your visa is rejected, remember, you can fight for another try in the window of 15th August till 1st September. But the problem is, if you do get a visa around that time, the amount of time that you have ahead of you to plan, including your trip, is very short. Most of the programs in the US for the fall will commence either towards the end of August or early September. So one of the biggest challenges that you will have is, when do you book the date for your flight? because the closer it is to the commencing of the fall, the more expensive will be the price. Now, for all of you who have not yet received admission and you're looking at getting the admission and then applying for the visa, because that is the only way you can apply, do remember, if you are going to book a date between August 15th to September 1st, you are not just competing with others who are applying for the visa for the first time. You are going to be competing with people whose visas have been rejected in the past. So the net impact is, one, for all of you who are applying for the visa for the first time, hurry up. See to it that you are booking your date, preferably much ahead of 15th August window. For those of you whose visas have been rejected, please notice you will get only one more shot, that is in the window of 15th August to 1st September. And that too, we have been told that they will be opening only around 15,000 to 16,000 slots, which means you are competing against others whose visas have been rejected and against those who are applying for the first time but applying a bit late. Therefore, see to it that in either of the two cases, whether you fall in the first attempt or the second, please see to it that you are well prepared. Visa interview is not a challenge if you know what to speak. There are certain red flag issues that I keep talking about. When you are going to go for the visa interview, do remember it is your responsibility to show the fact that you are a genuine student. By principle, visa people will reject if they believe you are an immigration threat. So the whole focus of the type of answers that you make, practice and deliver should be to give them the confidence that you are not an immigration threat. So build your answers accordingly, practice, and as I said earlier, deliver. But while you are analyzing your profile, look for the red flags. The reason I talk about the red flags is, if you do happen to have any of these, then the chances of your visa rejection is higher. So be prepared for questions coming in this, because when they do come, if your answer is not perfect, rejection can be taken for granted. So what are the red flags? In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to talk about various incidences and scenarios where you might be at a disadvantage. And as I run through them, ask yourself, are you impacted? In effect, do you have these red flags? And if you do, as I said, prepare your answers well. Let's look at the various red flags that can result in higher incidences of visa rejection. The first one, if you have had your visa rejected earlier, not just in US, but even for other countries, that can be a disadvantage. Be clear in telling them as to why you believe the visa was rejected and how your scenario now is better than then, so as to explain to them why your visa should not be rejected now. However, if your visa was rejected many years back, the risk is not as much as if it was recently rejected. And do remember, this is not rejection only from US, but from other countries as well. If you do have close family members already in US, or you have sponsor from US, it's a red flag. If others in your family have already made a migration there, then you are an immigration threat to them. Academics matter. If you do have high number of backlogs, or if you did not complete your graduation in time and it so happens that your graduation period was expanded, that is a red flag. You cannot show your desperation. You cannot show the fact that you took steps to reach US by applying to too many colleges. So if you have applied to many colleges, see to it that you have a very strong reason to back it up. If you are going and joining finally a low rated college, or a college which has a reputation of attracting students who are not very serious about studies, and colleges where the percentage of Indians is too heavy, that is also a red flag. If you have had a break after education, or you are working but you are working for a long time, you need to have a very strong reason as to why you are planning your higher education now, because it can be construed that with so many years of experience, You are going there because you believe that experience can be encashed in terms of getting yourself a job. Shifting from one area of undergraduation to another area for masters. There are many students who shift towards the field of computer science or data science coming from backgrounds which are not related to these areas. That is a flag, and you should be prepared for giving an explanation, a reasonable one, for this shift. GRE at home has been a very controversial thing this time. There has been lot of practices which are not legal and not ethical. Now, if you have given your GRE at home and your scores are very high, but is not a reflection of your overall profile. For example, you have a high GRE score, but your academic standing is not very good. These are all things which might indicate to them you indulged in something that is not right. That can be a red flag. English proficiency score is very important. Getting a high score, especially in TOEFL or IELTS, is a plus. But if you have not given either of the two exams and relied on tests like Duolingo, because quite a few colleges, because of COVID, did accept that. Now that can be a negative because Duolingo is not considered to be a test of that much rigor. Now, coming from a financial background which is not very strong can also be a negative. If you are relying on 100% of your funding through loans, that can also be a negative. So look closely at your financial papers. What sort of argument are you making in terms of how you are funding it? Because too much of reliance, especially when your personal finances are not very strong, can result in rejection. These are a few of the very typical reasons why visas are often rejected. The reason I'm flagging them out is because if any of these or more than one of these are right for you, or your profile actually fits in that, you have multiple reasons for your visas to be rejected. But the idea is not to frighten you. Idea is to caution you. Idea is to see to it that you are coming out with good reasons, and reasons which do not take too much time to speak because you don't have so much time. Remember, your interview will probably go for 2 minutes at the max. Therefore, answers have to be to the point yet strong. Be well prepared. Finally, remember, the risk is high. If the visa is rejected, then what is your plan? Do you have a backup? And that is also something that you should consider. If you do have any queries in these areas, feel free to get in touch with me so that I can guide you on that. We at Condira believe the fact that for all the hard work that you have done in, the last step should not be the hurdle that you missed clearing. I wish you all the best.